win every game that you play, but we're still in a position where we control everything.
All right, so who controls their own destiny in the AFC North? Yesterday, the Bengals could have taken control of the division, but came up short in a crucial home game against the Steelers. So now Pittsburgh wins out, they take the division. And as Terrell Suggs said yesterday, if the Ravens win out, they're in. The Bengals have to travel to Pittsburgh on the last day of the season for what could be the AFC North title game. So from what you saw yesterday, who wins the AFC North, Skip?
Stephen A. Smith, the Ravens are going to win the AFC North. Pittsburgh is a weird, flawed football team. Cincinnati is a weird, flawed football team. I can't figure either one out from week to week to week. So Pittsburgh loses to New Orleans at home, where they also lost to Tampa Bay at home. And then they go on the road and lost to the Jets. And then they go on the road, when I least expected it, at Cincinnati, and just blow them out of their own stadium in the second half, or at least in the fourth quarter. What the Ravens did yesterday in Miami was highly impressive to me. The Dolphins are no joke at home, where we saw them crush Phillip Rivers and company 37-0. And in the second half, the Ravens took over the football game and won 21-3 in the second half. I look at the schedules. They have by far the most favorable schedule. They finish Jacksonville at home, then they go to Houston. I think they can win that game, even though Houston's been playing pretty well. And then they finish with a Cleveland team, and maybe it's Manziel by then. Maybe that'll be a little tougher for them. I don't know. But I think they can beat the Cleveland Browns at home, especially if they need to beat the Cleveland Browns at home to win the division. So I think they are in position A off an A-plus game that they played yesterday at Dolphins.
Skip Bayless, I'm inclined to believe in you. My mind tells me the Baltimore Ravens. My heart is going to go with the Pittsburgh Steelers.
I appreciate that.
I don't believe that the Steelers defense can do it, but I do believe this offense can do it. With Wheaton, with Bryant, with Antonio Brown. That was a big-time 95-yard touchdown pass to Wheaton, wasn't it? It was special. It was
Martavis?
No, Martavis Bryant, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
So, I mean, to see that from Big Red, I just loved it. I just loved it. And it just made me laugh at the Cincinnati Bengals until I realized that the likelihood is that they may come to their senses, and bottom line is Marvin Lewis may be gone if they don't make the playoffs this year, since he hasn't won a playoff game in his 11 years as the head coach. Then I get a bit sad, because it's not like I root against him, but facts are the facts, and this man has come up flagrantly short, and something needs to be done about that. In the case of, obviously Cleveland's Cleveland. So we get to Pittsburgh and Baltimore. Baltimore, your head should go with them because they're tough, they're rough and rugged. I believe in Steve Smith Sr., I believe in Torrey Smith, I believe in Forsett. Flacco has big moments, and he doesn't always seem allergic to Peter. I was more disappointed in Miami yesterday than I was impressed with Baltimore. I just said you're Miami after all the things you went through last year, after the recent doldrums you've gone through in your history, just recent history. You got a defense now. You finally have an opportunity to show up. The playoff berth is on the line. You're on your home turf, and you get smacked around in an entire second half in South Beach. Yep. I lost so much respect for them. I truly did. And you look at Baltimore, and they're just gritty, and they find ways to win. And that's a testament to John Harbaugh and the exceptional coach that he is, along with just the organization as a whole, regardless of what happened with Ray Rice. But we get to Pittsburgh. And you know something, Skip, that I found as not a sheer coincidence, y'all? Did you notice how the Pittsburgh Steelers not only scored, but their defense actually got a little bit better once Ike Taylor got hurt? Did you notice that?
Shannon
I mean, my Lord. Listen.
That's interesting.
Let me be the first to say this.
Wow.
I will be the first to admit I have this little habit about me. I love seeing players get paid. I understand it's a short lifespan career-wise in the business. I root for these guys to get paid. I don't like calling dudes out when their careers are on the line. I want Ike Taylor to have a job in the NFL. But it should be in coaching. Because your days is playing corner. Every single time. I said this on my radio show, Sirius XM, Mad Dog Sports Radio, 1 to 3 every day. I say this on my radio show every chance I get. If there's a touchdown being scored on the Pittsburgh Steelers via a pass, look for Ike Taylor's jersey. It's somewhere in the vicinity. It just seems to happen all the time. Every time somebody's scoring on the Pittsburgh Steelers, Ike Taylor is in the vicinity.
Now, he was gone for about,
listen, he was gone, but let me tell you something right now. He was there yesterday for those 11 receptions for 224 yards by A.J. Green, which, by the way, he will play again the last game of the regular season in the event that he's on the field, because for some reason, whether it's Corbett, whether it's Tomlin, whether it's LeBeau, the defensive coordinator, somebody, I guess the Pittsburgh Steelers, who haven't drafted a quarter in more than a decade, as far as I can tell, I guess they don't have anybody else to lean on, because this brother constantly is on the field every single skip. You know how much I love my Steelers, and I know I'm engaging in a little hyperbole here. I don't mean it literally, but it just seems, we don't know this factually, we'll have to look it up, but it just seems that every single time a touchdown pass is thrown against the Steelers, Ike Taylor's jersey is in the vicinity somewhere, and it drives me crazy. So I found it a tad bit humorous that the minute he went out, suddenly the Steelers got on a roll. And not only were they able to score, but they were able to get the ball back while preventing Cincinnati from scoring again. And I just found that a bit strange and coincidental, but I'll leave it at that because I want to be kind.
Okay, so bottom line, you love your Steelers. You grew up loving Steelers.
Yeah.
How much do you trust this team that under Mike Tomlin this year has been, to put it mildly, wildly inconsistent? Wildly.
The only game that they've disappointed me across the board is against the Jets.
Yeah.
But primarily, this offense shows up. The offense shows up.
Yeah.
Even when they lost to Tampa Bay, they scored 20-plus, and they had the game in hand, and their defense couldn't stop Tampa Bay on the final drive. Okay? When I watch this team, I have no trust in its secondary. I have no trust in its ability to get to the passer. I have no trust in his ability to make stops. But I do have trust that Big Ben Roethlisberger, with Antonio Brown, with Martavis Bryant, with Wheaton, okay, with Schuler, I'm just saying, I look at the Pittsburgh Steelers offensively, and I believe they can score on anybody.
Okay, so they got to go to Atlanta, then they got Chiefs and Bengals at home. Do you think they can win all three?
I believe they can beat the Chiefs because I believe that Alex Smith and the Chiefs will have difficulty scoring. I think their defense will show up, but I think they'll have difficulty scoring. I definitely think they could beat Cincinnati because I think Cincinnati is fraudulent, not talent-wise, because I know they got loads of talent. But whenever the light shines on the Cincinnati Bengals, it's almost like they're the Wicked Witch or something like that. When you spray water on them and they just shrink and shrivel. I don't know. That's what reminds the Cincinnati Bengals remind me of.
The spotlight shrinks them?
The spotlight shrinks them. So I don't believe in Cincinnati. I do believe in Kansas City, but I think the Steelers could take them. And you know how I feel about anybody in the NFC South.
We asked the question, who wins the AFC North? The odds are in the favor of the Ravens at 8-5. They have the easiest remaining schedule in that division.